everything that I know. Says I gotta go, tired of going solo. But I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is, this is who I am. This is where I finally take my stand. I didn't wanna fall, but I don't have to grow. I'm not the one with two scarred hands. Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Oh, yes, everyone. This is Jesus' friend and mine, Eddie Huff.
There you go.
with my other friend and Jesus' friend as well, David Van Rizegem.
Glad to be here today.
Yeah. You know what, Dave, though? I think I may have to unmute you. You want to say that again?
Okay. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I'm doing everything. I'm the engineer. I'm the
Yes.
voice. I'm the you name it. And hopefully I'm your friend as well. And you're my friend. And you're with us today on a Saturday. Big day. Big day around the country. Big day. Bedlam in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You've got Michigan, Ohio State. You've got a lot of stuff going on right now, except for your phone camera.
Yes.
That one, those
Which
people.
decided to become a phone because my son was calling.
Yes. Darn those sons and daughters. Which reminds me, do you have a daughter?
I do.
You do? You have a daughter? Tell
Yes.
us quickly. Let's get to know David Van Rizegem.
All right.
How many children do you have? Well, first of all, let's start with your wife.
Yeah, my wife Debbie, hometown sweetheart from central Minnesota. She spent the first part of her life growing up on an Iowa farm, and then her family moved up here. And so I married her right out of high school for her. Now, for me, I'm 4 years older. I robbed the cradle. But, the good ones go early. So
all you young people out there, remember that. The good ones go, so get early and often.
That's right. Yes.
That's what they say at ORU.
Yes. Yeah.
They marry him early and often.
There you go. Oh! All right. Well,
Apologies.
anyway.
Sorry about that.
We moved down here. I had come down here to go to Bible school, and then I went up to Minneapolis, was pastoring up there at a church while we were recording, and then we moved back down here. After 4 years, we started a family. Unfortunately, lost our first one, miscarriage. Emily Lynn, she's waiting for us in heaven.
Oh, wow. Praise God.
But we've got 2 boys and a girl. And doing great. They're all living here in Tulsa.
Really?
Married, have homes here in Tulsa.
You're fortunate.
And yes, I am. I told them, don't you dare do to me what I did to my parents and move 800 miles
Or
away.
my kids did to me.
Yeah.
I've got 2 in California and 1 in Florida. Can you?
Yeah.
They couldn't get any. Well, the one used to be in North Carolina, but you talk about coast to coast.
Yeah.
But I do have one here. He's the chef.
Okay.
Eli, yeah. And so,
now where can we get his good food?
If you go to Monte Casino.
Oh, okay.
And eat in the cafeteria. No.
Wasted on school kids.
Yeah, his big thing now is no longer being an actual restaurant chef.
Okay.
He designs restaurants.
Oh,
in fact, he's doing the Meals on Wheels. They're building a new building.
Good.
And he designed the whole
Good.
deal. He set up the food service for Union High School. Not Union, from K through 12, all of their meals. He designed their college career wing, the food court there, and he did Bixby, and so. But he's got someone else running that aspect now. He does.
So he designs the dining experience. Does he design the kitchen flow?
Well, he designs the actual building of the kitchens.
Wow.
Yeah, he
Serious stuff.
designs the layout, what it looks like, and then he's able to save them hundreds of thousands of dollars on equipment.
Yeah,
because people, they don't know where to buy, and architects. In fact, I have to tell this story. First place he ever did, he had it all designed out, but the architects thought they knew better. Mm-hmm. So they wrote it out and put a freezer in its place. Well, the problem is the way they put it in the sink, the freezer door wouldn't open.
Oh, jeez. That's a problem.
That's a big problem. So he had to tear it all out and redo it. So that's the kind of things they've learned to listen to him when he does the design. But he's the only one here. The rest of them are on the various coasts. We will actually be visiting the West Coasters here
Yeah.
in December.
Yeah.
And my Florida son, he now works as director of operations for the Florida Panthers hockey team.
Nice.
First
Nice.
place in the Atlantic Division,
Yeah.
by the way.
Florida
Panthers.
has the top hockey team.
They have.
There's something wrong with as a native Minnesotan. There's something
Well,
wrong with
I
that.
was thinking that too. I mean, first of all, Florida, hockey in Florida, it's just like the Anaheim Ducks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Anaheim, and LA has one too now. So anyway, but yeah. So we both of us have much to be thankful for, don't we?
Yeah.
Our children.
Yeah.
So your daughter's the youngest.
Yes, she is.
So you had bookends. A daughter was the first,
Yeah,
and then a daughter at the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got something to say on this. This ties into government reform and cultural reform. The new dynamic of working from home that's brought about by COVID. Corporate America has embraced this in a way that I never would have expected. And you're seeing a lot of companies saying, do we ever really want to bring everybody back downtown into the high rise and pay these god awful real estate, lease agreements? And I think New York City is going to get hit with the devaluation because my son just returned from his office in New York, my oldest son, is like right across the street from, the New York Stock Exchange. But when he was negotiating, he's doing well, okay? They hunted him down. He negotiated, in fact, showed him a webcam from his back office behind his house. He says, this is my backyard, oak forest behind it, just gorgeous. How much would I have to make for my family to live like this? Working out of your Manhattan office, a lot. Yeah. So he has to fly in about every 6 weeks, spend a week there, because he would almost immediately became interim vice president of design for this big global. I could name names of all the different websites, many of them. But so yesterday, I reached out to the chairman of the Oklahoma Senate Commerce Committee, James Leewright, over here in Sepulpa. And I said, my son almost didn't get this because that corporation had to go through all kinds of hoops to set up and incorporate in Oklahoma as an employer. And it costs a lot of money.
Just for him to work from here, they had to set
because he was their first employee that was in their Oklahoma division.
Okay.
Which he is the Oklahoma division.
Right, but that's what I was saying. I mean, they had to set up to make him an employee.
Yes. Now, the benefit, and this is the thing I'm driving home to the legislature, is Oklahoma now collects state income tax, not New York. That's a plus for my son.
Yeah.
It's a plus for the state of Oklahoma. And as a grandpa, it's a plus for me because I'm smitten with grandparents.
Well, okay, that leads me to something else. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
Good.
The deduction.
Yeah.
The new Biden tax plan, which is what they've done. Trump, under the Trump presidency, got rid of I can't remember the acronym, but it's where you're allowed to deduct your state taxes from your federal taxes. Yeah. So let's say your state taxes in Oklahoma are 10%. So whatever you pay there, you're allowed to deduct that from your income for your federal taxes.
Right.
Trump got rid of that. That's why a lot of people fled New York initially. And now the people who have remained, it was killing those people up there, especially the state, because all of a sudden now they can't raise their taxes. This is a secret, by the way, that a lot of people don't realize, that let's take California and New York, where they have very high state taxes. By the time you take those state taxes and you deduct them, your federal taxes aren't that much. Right. It's kind of a wash. Basically, it's a wash. It's like not having tax.
Yeah.
It's like being in Florida or wherever. So Trump really hit them hard. So to those states, it doesn't matter how high their state taxes are because you can deduct them from your federal taxes.
Yeah.
So now do you understand a little bit why the huge conspiracy to get rid of Trump?
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy. So with Biden now, he's reinstated that to where, and in Oklahoma, so I pay state taxes. And everybody does. But anyway, we all pay state taxes. So I haven't been able to deduct those under the Trump administration. Now, he doubled the family, the spousal deduction.
Yeah.
It was 12.5%. Now, and it went to 25%.
Yeah.
Under Trump. So if you were married, you automatically get to deduct out 25% of your gross income, where as before it had been 12.5. Now it's back to 12.
Well, that was referred to as a marriage penalty,
Right.
because a couple can shack up together and get better tax rates than a married couple.
Well, but still, then they would each they'd still be able to deduct the 12.5 each.
Right, but this is better. I
like it. I mean, I think it's a good incentive because there were other advantages of being single back in the day. But this other one, I wish I could remember the acronym for it, where you can deduct your state taxes from your federal. See, California, New York, all those states that have state taxes, they love it because then they can compete with Florida, Texas, Nevada, some of these states where they don't have a state tax.
Right.
And now they'll feel they can retain their people. But with the high crime, with all the shenanigans going in these cities, I don't think they're coming back. I don't think the people are coming back. Plus, after the Congress is taken back by the Republicans, hopefully they will repeal that again and nail those people again for that stuff. So if you wondered what's going on and why the Democrats are so bad, let me remind you, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But you brought that up, a good point about the state taxes in New York and the taxation here and so forth.
I do want to just add one more addendum on that. For Oklahoma, a greater percent of our taxes the state collects comes through sales tax than other states. Minnesota's got a much lower sales tax, especially because they exempt basic food and clothing.
Yeah.
Whereas Oklahomans, it's
Texas,
it's seen as somewhat
food.
Well,
so think about that then.
Yeah.
But then, so we still though have the state employment tax.
Yes.
Which has been reinstated.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just.
But
the Democrat, I think they really are Democrats.
If you'll indulge me, so my other two kids don't feel quite
I'm
neglected.
sorry. Forgive me. I interrupted.
My oldest son's working there. His great home up in Berry Hill, Rolling Oaks. I've got another son's got a beautiful house out in Union Springs, and he just finished 10 years as a youth pastor with Destiny Church, and now is working in home remodeling. Just decided it was time to make a change. And then my daughter and son-in-law are both working corporate support for Home Depot's corporate division. They're out of the BOK Southern Hills Tower. But they also just got moved to working from home as well. And it's a pretty sweet gig because, you can feed the dog or, sign for your parcels while you're at work. So.
Where did you go wrong?
But
No,
my kids turn out better than I deserve. So excuse me, I'm biased, but I am bragging on
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I mean, I was bad. I was bad.
How bad were you?
I'm not going to tell you how bad I was. You'll just have to find out on the other side when Jesus is playing it all back.
When he opens the books.
I wonder. Is everybody going to get to watch?
Yeah.
Or is it a private audience, like a little private screening room, and you and the Lord sitting there? Eddie, do you remember when you did this? No, Lord, I don't want to remember. Please, no, stop. Or is everybody, he shows something we did, and you hear this, millions of people going, oh, a collective groan, oh, and then you do something good. Yeah.
I think the shame is going to be so universal, we're not going to worry about the next guy.
That's true.
That's a humility I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Praise God. Praise God for that, man. Hey, you never know what you're going to hear on Fresh Black Coffee, me and the Lord sitting there.
Bedlam Day. Give me your prediction. OU or OSU, by how much?
OU by 12. I mean, I'm sorry. Excuse me. OSU by 12.
OSU by 12. I'm going to say OSU by 14.
Ooh.
I'll also give the over. I don't think anybody will score more than 24 points.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll
So
find
it'll be
out.
an interesting deal. Now, by the time you guys see this, except you on Facebook Live watching our raw feed, you're going to be able to laugh at us. Rub it in. I don't care. Eddie could use the humiliation.
Yeah, bring me down. Bring the black man down. Yeah.
Oh,
I see.
pulling the race card.
That's really white of you there, Dave.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Eddie can actually say, hey, I've been in the trenches. You were wide receiver for Texas Tech, whom every OU fan is also rooting for today to beat Baylor.
Yeah.
As an insurance policy. There you go.
Guns
There you
up.
go. He
Guns
looks
up.
very similar to how he did in high school and college, right?
Yeah, right.
No, you had the big poofy hair,
I
didn't you?
had the fro.
But that was
not
the
in high school.
70s look.
Well, yes, it was late 60s. I got
Yeah.
it. I left home. Man, we're way out. I have to tell this story, though, okay?
Yeah.
Now that you brought it up. Okay.
Okay.
So I graduated in Germany at a U.S. Department of Defense school.
A Dodd school.
A
they call
Dodd
it.
school,
Yeah.
Army brat. And so I had, of course, the short hair, brown walls, not white walls. But
Oh, the
brown
military
walls.
base look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go off to college and instantly, I hated rock music. I was into soul music. Everything was black. It didn't like hippies, all of that stuff. End of one semester,
Cool in the game.
I was smoking dope. Oh, see, there I wasn't going to say, I'm telling you one of my things. And I became a DJ on the campus station. And so I started growing out my hair. And they used to do it. It's called a blowout. You take the fro and you pull it out. You basically straighten it, but not all the way. And so it makes it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Christmas time, I couldn't wait to get back for all my friends to see me with my giant fro.
Back on the base in
Germany.
West Germany
Yeah.
at the time.
So I land in Frankfurt. The Army used to fly us one way back home.
Yeah.
And then one way at Christmas you had to pay.
Yeah.
So my parents paid for me to come home for Christmas. So in Frankfurt Airport, they had these long wooden rails that went about 50 yards in the middle of the thing, and all the people waiting on their people to show up.
Yeah.
You would see them, and then you would run down to the end and greet them at the end.
Yeah.
So all along, you've got on both sides these people lined up. And so I happened to be like the first one to get my bag. I grabbed it because I just had one bag, threw it on my back. And I come in, the doors open, and here's this thing. And you know how noisy, like an airport arrival thing. A sudden hush fell on the place.
Oh, my God.
Apparently, they had never seen anyone with an afro before. So this 50 yards, it was like a runway where I was walking down this runway with this giant afro, and these Germans and American military people all look, and it was like they were just watching me. Well, but here's the funny thing. So my mom, she hated long hair.
Now, she's a German national.
She's a German. Well, was. She's American now.
Right, but I'm saying she's
was-
a native to Germany.
Yeah, she was
born there.
So in Germany, it's all about Stolz, pride.
Yeah.
The German pride. Okay. And so, oh no, not my son. I can't be seen with him. So she ran out of the terminal. My dad. Where's mom? Oh, she waited in the car. But it was like she couldn't, and she just let me have it. How dare you? What are you doing with all that hair? That looks awful. It's awful. It's horrible. I mean, the whole way home. So you're going to the barber tomorrow. So I went to the barber, got it cut.
Yeah.
About a half inch. I come, no, that's not enough. You got to get more. So I go get another half inch. And so finally, my dad tells me, look, Eddie, you're just going to go broke because he's going to keep pulling this game. But the big thing, my high school I graduated from was in Karlsruhe, which was about 100 miles away.
Wow.
So, but I convinced my parents to go to Karlsruhe because I had to go. And so I wanted to see all my old friends that were still there come back, and then my high school. And, and so,
the underclassmen that were all still there.
Exactly. And several of the older ones came back. And when I came, it was like, I just wanted to impress everybody with my big fro. And I had like a hippie leather vest or something. I was Mr. Cool now. And it's funny because all of the hippie kids in that school that I never wanted to hang out with, that I didn't think much of, and that didn't like their music or anything. All of a sudden, I was like a god to them, and we became the close buddies. And I would always go there and hang out and stay at these people's house and stuff, just sleep, on a couch in their house, because that was cool. And and we would do hash and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, that's a little bit of interlude into the life of Eddie Huff. By the way, my book is finally finished.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And if you're interested in pre-orders,
all right,
it'll be probably printed here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And we'll get them out in time for Christmas if you want it.
Okay.
So just go to Fresh Black Coffee.
Yeah, we'll have the link.
At gmail.com.
Well, yeah.
Or if you want to go
we'll put a link on the website, freshblack.coffee.
Okay, yeah, go there and he'll have a link. And then you can order the book. It's normally $17.50, but for you it's $15 plus shipping.
There you go.
I'm not good at this. I don't know. I haven't figured out all the shipping stuff yet, but we'll let you know. Book rate probably, so which is not a whole lot.
Media rate at the post office.
Exactly. So it shouldn't be too bad. So I would say $20 for the whole thing. The name of the book. Have I told you the name?
I think so, but I'm trying.
It's called "Y'all Have Sinned."
Oh no! Really?
Y'all, not me, not him. God. Y'all, y'all have sinned. That's
the way to sell books.
Yeah. So now you'll have to figure out
some condemnation.
Yeah, exactly.
No, buy it for your relatives, your in-laws, the liberal ones.
The liberal. Yeah. Well, I don't know, which, by the way, seriously though, it is called "Y'all Have Sinned."
Okay.
And the subtitle is "Why Blaming Others is Never a Winning Strategy."
Oh, okay.
That's
good.
What it is. But speaking of that, it's a perfect introduction to our first story here that I have today, if I can ever find it.
Great.
And that is the Salvation Army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of those who have sinned, you're about to find out what we mean.
Most of you have probably, or at least a lot of you have already heard this, but the Salvation Army has not gone woke.
No.
Yeah, they've decided to go woke. They're best known for their red kettle and donation stands at Christmas. They're still at Walmart, Targets, all these places, but they have released a racial Serenity now. They've released a racial reconciliation curriculum urging its members to apologize for racial past misdeeds. Okay, now here's an organization founded by helping the poor, the homeless, widows and orphans, and now all of a sudden they're worried about racial misdeeds. I mean, this is how messed up the world is. This is something I've said before. Go to Isaiah 3, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And that is that there's a woman running this organization, the communication. Listen, I have nothing against women, but honestly, it's just the truth. It's just the truth. This lady who is she's colonel or captain or something in the Salvation Army. I can't remember what her name is. Colonel Janet Munn. Colonel Janet Munn. She's a minister and co-director of the organization's international, Social Justice Commission. She's led a team that developed a discussion guide, and it's called "Let's Talk About Racism." I mean, what is Salvation Army doing talking about racism? Yeah. Just feed the poor and give money in disasters. Right. I mean, that's why I give to Salvation, or at least I used to give money to the Salvation Army.
Oh, I think I get why.
Why?
Because people filled with guilt and shame want to pay penance.
Never thought of that.
Maybe
it's because they were kicked out of Target for a while.
Maybe giving more money gets them off your back. I mean, listen, Jesse Jackson's played this game for decades now.
Yeah.
Give us money or we're going to pick it.
Yeah. And Let's Talk About Racism, the evangelical organization declares, as we engage in conversations about race and racism, we must keep in mind that sincere repentance and apologies are necessary if we want to move towards racial reconciliation. Okay, I'm going to tell you what happens when you start going down this road, sincere apologies and reconciliation. South Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
South Africa was doing well. Okay, South Africa was doing well, including, regardless of what you hear, the black community. It was apartheid, but black people could still succeed in South Africa.
Sure.
All right. Now, what they've done, they started down the same road with washing feet and apologizing endlessly and basically giving all the power over to black people. It's like Reconstruction in America, in the South. And what have the black people who are running the country done? Those who are incompetent and should never have been running anything have just almost run that nation into the ground.
Yeah.
South Africa is a mess, people. Crime, lack of education, poverty, disease, which we're going to get to here in a second. That's what happened. Just like in Reconstruction. I don't know if you're familiar with, everybody knows about Reconstruction, but what people don't know is what happened. They basically put black people in charge of white communities. Now, we're talking about somebody was a slave today and the mayor and the sheriff and you name it tomorrow. Okay? One day, the guy is working on somebody's plantation. The next day, he's supposed to be running the city.
Eddie, you can say that sitting here in middle America, but have you even ever been to South Africa?
Yes.
Tell us about it. As a black man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really fair. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's my American privilege. It's not white privilege. It's American privilege.
No, we've talked about this
We have
before,
talked
but
about it.
I don't know that everybody's picked up on it.
I went to South Africa in 1984, middle of apartheid.
Yeah,
was
that
going on.
was,
And I stayed in a white neighborhood. And so I left something in the people who were hosting me. It was Youth with a Mission. I was speaking at the Youth with a Mission base there. And so I was staying at the director's house, and we went in, and I realized, I left something in the car. So I went out to their car to get something, and I hear some Afrikaner, which is a white Dutch origin. Different.
Yes.
You have English and the Afrikaners. Okay, two countries basically were fighting over rule in there, which is another problem. But anyway, so this guy's yelling something in Afrikaans, and I said, what you doing over there? And so I go running over to this guy, and I looked him in the face. It was a little short guy walking his dog. I said, what did you say? And he had this stern look, and instantly, boom, oh, a Yank are you? No. I mean, it was like, as soon as I spoke English, American, he realized I was American, and his everything changed. Oh, well, are you visiting? I said, I'm visiting. What do you think? And so I wanted to just punch him or something. But just the ability, the power that I felt at that moment by being an American.
An American.
And
how does the African black man view the American black man?
Oh, we're seen as gods. I mean, they love I went to Kenya.
Yeah.
And so we've got this long line of customs, going through all of this, and I'm standing in the line, and one of the customs guys up front sees me, starts waving us. And he waved me right through, didn't check it, just going through.
Wow.
Yeah, black privilege.
Wow.
Black privilege. It works in Oklahoma.
Oh, tell us about
Just ask my wife.
Yeah. Now, she coined the phrase in your household, right?
Yeah, in my household.
Yeah.
She says that I have black privilege because I don't get tickets.
How about that?
They let me go.
Wow.
I told the story on here about I was on Owasso,
Yes,
had a beer,
yeah,
and
that was
I mean, the
bad.
guy
That's
did his
true.
job. He had me walking the line and doing all this
They were
stuff.
even doing field sobriety check on you.
They did everything, found a gun in my car.
Oh my God! A black man with a gun.
Black man, as Eddie Murphy was saying,
and admitted he was drinking.
a nigga with a gun. Is that even the most dangerous? No, he said with a badge in it,
Yeah.
but I'm going to say a gun. So anyway, and we ended up, I was laughing because he says, "Oh, were you going to tell me about this?" And he pulls out my pistol. "Were you going to tell me about this?" I keep it. And I said, "Oh man, I just totally forgot." And I said, "I have a concealed carry." Oh, it's funny man, we are way off, but this is important stuff. Seriously.
Yeah, it is.
But he was saying how I was supposed to show that, but I said, wait a minute, in Oklahoma we don't have, we have concealed carry, but it's open carry now where you don't even need a carry license or anything. So anyway, that was good. That was funny. But back to South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got by with that neighbor, and the two more actual events that really kind of opened my eyes. One was a horse race, like their Kentucky Derby.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm watching TV at these same people's house, and they had the fashion show. They always do it at the Kentucky Derby, and they're different races. The most decked out, the best dressed.
Is it the big hats like they do in Churchill
England,
Downs?
yeah, it's just like, in England they do it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking, and I look, and the runner-ups was this black couple. And when I say black, I mean black. I mean, they were like this.
Oh.
They weren't, as the South Africans would say, coloreds. They were actually the blacks, the blacks. So anyway, and I'm telling, wait a minute, what's this? They said, what do you mean? That couple right there.
Yeah.
What about them? I said, they're black.
Yeah.
How can they be at this horse race, much less winning a contest? He said, oh, that's Dr. So-and-so and so-and-so. He's a millionaire. And he lives in this posh area of South Africa, of Johannesburg, around the capital, Pretoria. And so Larry Holmes, you remember Larry Holmes?
Oh, yeah, the boxer.
The boxer. As he said, he was fighting at that big casino they had there. And they asked Larry, how can you as a black man go to this South Africa and fight? He said, because I've learned. He says, if you're black and rich, you ain't black.
How about that?
So there's two caveats. If you're black and rich, you ain't black. And if you're black and American, you aren't black.
Yeah.
So now, unless you live in America, and then they won't let you forget that you're black or white or whatever, because we have become this reverse of a melting pot. We've become a smelting pot.
Yeah.
And we've begun to divide the races like that. So anyway, let's take a quick break. This is Eddie Huff with David Van Risingham, and you're listening to Fresh Black Coffee.
Pay them more.
I'm Jeff Davis with Just a Thought. From the world hindquarters of dubious information, it's Fake News Friday. A photo of Ghislaine Maxwell and a man identified as Chief Justice Roberts was not the Supreme Court honcho. It was actually French modeling agent Jean-Luc Brunel. No word on whether Justice Roberts speaks French. Posts that say you can detox from the vaccination are false. It removes water but not much else, and it could be harmful. A claim that Jen Psaki suggested Americans concerned about inflation enjoy Thanksgiving at Taco Bell is false. But the Chalupa Supreme is quite tasty. If you spend $28 a day, you will not be audited by the IRS, as one Republican congressman claimed. There was a report that Walmart would be closed on Black Friday. Millions of people who showed up knew better, especially when they tried to find a parking spot. Nancy Pelosi did not buy a $25 million mansion in Florida. She would require something with a bigger ice cream freezer. Danny DeVito is not dead, but he's still short. Just a thought. I'm Jeff Davis.
All right, we're back. And so, David, that was my South African experience. There was one more, and we were going to the movies. My friends invited me to come see a movie. I think it was, it might have been Lethal Weapon, one of the 2 or 3 or one of the. And so my friend said, do you want to go see a movie? I said, yeah, I don't want to cause a scene. create a problem. So you better call the movie theater and find out. And so my friend calls. Barry Crocamp was the guy's name, by the way. Anyway, so Barry calls the movie theater, says, "Hey, we've got a bloke here from America, and he's wondering if it's going to be a problem for him to come. He's black, and he wonders if it's a problem." And I hear, "No, okay, all right. Just have him bring a passport." Okay.
How about that?
So I brought my U.S. passport. So then we get to the theater, and there's this ticket taker, old guy. I mean, the guy was like 60 years old, pretty old for a guy working as the ticket taker at the theater. And so we're walking in, and he hears me talking. He says, "Oh, are you a Yank? Oh, we just love Americans, especially Michael Jackson."
Oh, God. Yeah.
So again, the whole race thing is so overblown. It's gotten so out of control. It's just ridiculous.
Can I throw something at you, Eddie, for your responses? I've talked to several of my friends on the left, Democrats and stuff, are so caught up in the narrative, the template of it, all being about racism, particularly locally here. My contention is it's more about economics in prejudice towards poorer classes than it is about race.
That basically, you're stealing from my book. Have you been reading my chapters?
I've been hanging out with you for a few months.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
But if you want to find out more about that, get Y'all Have Sinned by...
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. That is exactly it. It's always been that way. You look at England. We like to watch these British shows. Poldark. You ever seen that one?
No, I'm not big on it.
If you do get a chance, it's a good.
I've watched the British version of The Office, which is the original The Office.
Oh, really?
sitcom.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But even Downton Abbey.
Yes.
Downtown Abbey. How you've got the whole world of behind the family that owns the place. You got the wait staff and all of them, and they've got their own it's like two different worlds.
Yeah.
In fact, what's interesting, and this goes to politics. I feel God gave me a vision one time about the situation in the world, okay? And what we have is, this is the political scene more than anything else. So you've got medieval villages, okay? And you've got them, and it's actually just one town, but it's divided with like a main street, the market's down. People are working and shopping and doing things and just living their lives, laughing. Some are laughing, some are selling, some are buying, some. And then there's these towers above, over the city. And in the towers, you've got one group over here shooting flaming arrows at the other tower on the other side. And these flaming arrows are going back in mortars. I just picture the old mortars with the big boulders and flaming boulders, like any movie you've seen of medieval times. But these boulders and arrows and everything are flying from one tower over to the other, and these people are fighting up here. Meanwhile, the people down in the streets are oblivious to
just
anything.
going about their business.
Going about their business. They don't even know what's going on up there. And that's really what I see as the political scene here in America and actually, frankly, the world. Because most people are too concerned about their day-to-day lives than to worry about all this other stuff. And somehow the Democrats have done a better job of infiltrating the people on the street than the Republicans have.
Yeah.
Republicans get so hung up here in this political realm.
Right.
And I think we've talked about it, where the money goes. Where Republicans, if they have money to give to a political campaign, they always give it to the candidate.
Yeah.
And then they want strings. I'm going to pay you this money. You're going to do what I want you to do, or you don't get any more money.
Yeah.
Whereas the Democrats, Soros, and some of these people, probably Kaiser here in town, and some of these people, they give it to organizations. And they say, do what you do.
Yes.
And if you're successful, I'll know, and I'll give you some more money in 1 year, 5 years. If you don't, I'm not giving you any more money. So Republicans are giving to the wrong place. We're giving it to the individual candidate instead of the groups, the pressure groups, and those organizations and influencers that can actually will end up
Okay.
catapulting
Can I
the
just
candidate into victory.
rephrase back to you what I hear you saying? Because I've heard it said politics is downstream from culture. And maybe the Republicans are trying to shortcut to change the politics, but they haven't actually changed the culture, the thing that boils up.
That's actually very good. Yeah,
Video.
that's why we are where we are now.
Yeah.
In our postmodern world, basically, is whatever that means. I mean, it basically means where we are today.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, the fact that a people group that maintains probably 3% of the population now occupies probably 30% of culture.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the homosexual community,
Yeah.
gay and lesbian community,
Yeah.
LGBTQ and whatever all
Yep.
the other letters are. You cannot watch a TV show anymore or a movie without some couple. There's a new one, Invasion, on Apple TV that we started watching. And you got Japanese lesbians. Then
Yeah.
you go here, it's black lesbians
Yeah.
and Hispanic. No matter what, every culture, every show now, great movie, great TV show, Big Sky. You got these young kids, these young high school girls now, and they're making out and stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, it's
It's
getting
in your
very hard to
face.
watch. It's very in your face, and it's affecting, again, the culture. But it's because that group of people has done what they need to do and infiltrated the 7 mind molders that we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Which in today's world would be called the 7 mountains, the new version of that in the book. But we have got to get smarter than that. We have got to, as conservatives, begin affecting the culture, as you say, downstream.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more like upstream.
Right, it is. Politics is downstream.
Politics is downstream, and we're not doing it that way.
Yeah.
It's from the ground up.
Yeah.
Booker T.
And-
Washington saw that early on, that no society has succeeded unless the lowest group is able to influence it and move it up.
Yeah, here's my problem with, and I've seen this, the Republican Party, particularly in Oklahoma, because 30 years ago, when I really started getting involved in politics in Oklahoma, the Republican Party didn't stand a chance in 80% of the elections, right? And so nobody put money in. There was really no professional campaign consultants that were Republicans in Oklahoma. Or if there were, nobody really knew who they were. But so what's happened now is the candidates basically build their own infrastructure, and it's all short-sighted. It's all about getting me reelected. And it's bypassing I like how Pat Robertson said it in 1988. He said that, let me tell you the difference between a politician and a statesman. A politician is concerned about the next election. A statesman's concerned about the next generation. And I think this is where we've got to go back to hard-hitting culture. Don't give your money to the politicians for their next campaign. Give it to the people that are on the ground impacting culture.
Right. I remember when it was McCain or Romney running, and there was a Hispanic lady, and she has the biggest Hispanic PR firm in the country. I think she's out of Florida, either Florida or Texas. It's got to be one of those two, right? So, and she was lamenting. They had her on Fox. I think it was Fox Business, which is, by the way, that's the station to watch. Wake up to Fox, and in the evenings, probably from 6 to 7. No, actually, probably up to 5 o'clock. They've kind of lost it after that. Now they got rid of all of their Lou Dobbs and some of the better ones. But anyway, in the morning and most of the day, Fox Business is really great because it puts everything in perspective.
Yeah.
And they're very, very conservative there. Very, other than Neil Cavuto, you can skip him. No, but anyway, there was this Hispanic lady, ran this big Hispanic PR firm, and she offered free of charge to do advertising for the GOP in one of these election cycles. They ignored her.
Wow.
They ignored her. Are you kidding me? As important as Hispanics are, do you know that back in 1990, the black population was 17% of America. Hispanic was 10%.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is today?
Probably flipped.
More than flipped.
Wow.
The black populations is between 12 and 13%, and Hispanics are up to 40-some%.
40. Boy, wow. Yeah.
It's that huge. And you know who's coming up strong? Asians.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're about to eclipse.
Yeah.
In fact, they may already have eclipsed. One of the reasons, there's two reasons. Abortion is one. That abortion clinics, if you ever look at it, they're always centered around
In the black
poor areas,
yeah.
particularly around black areas, whereas Asians and other than the Chinese, but your Koreans and Filipinos, particularly Latinos, Hispanics, are very much in favor of children. They always have a lot of children. They like to have children.
Yeah.
So we are committing our self instead of suicide, genocide, or just suicide, or something, however you want to pronounce it. But we are destroying our own population in America through abortion, crime and incarceration, just so many things. And yet, black people continue to vote for and support the same people who have fostered all of this on the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it just drives me nuts, but we better continue.
Yeah.
Like I said, please, if you get a chance, order the book, and we'll get it out to you here in the next, by Christmas, let me put it that way. I want to go back to South Africa.
Yes.
Okay. Have you heard of the Omicron variant of COVID now? It's the Omicron.
Just in the last few days.
Yeah, it's just popped up. It's from South Africa. That's what I say we're going to get to later. And so here's some 7 things you need to know about Omicron. It's like, I think we're back. We're going to have to go back to A again. So it'll be like storms, tornado, hurricane, So now we got COVID Omicron. Anyway, a team of scientists from 7 universities in South Africa. By the way, this is supposed to have originated. It mutated in South Africa, okay? A team of scientists from 7 universities in South Africa is working to learn more about the variant and are studying 100 whole genomes of the mutation. Now, here's what's important about that. Most of the prior COVIDs have had, say, up to 10 mutations. This one has 100 mutations. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Variants of this thing. They're studying the genome. So the variant was first identified in Botswana. Now, well, let me continue, but may have contributed to a jump in cases in South Africa. This brings me back to my thoughts about AIDS. Okay. The thinking was they tried to say it came out of Central Africa, right? And then hit the gay community and the drug community.
Yeah, jump from monkeys to humans is what I heard.
Right. Been Central Africa, but then through Africans and then came out. When I was in the same trip, when I went to South Africa, I was on an airplane and I was reading, I don't know if it was a Uganda newspaper or a South African newspaper, one or the other, but I'm on the airplane, I picked up this paper and I'm reading this. It was actually a British scientist did this. And they came up with the theory that it was the opposite, that it was developed, AIDS was developed in Europe or America, and it was purposely introduced in Mombasa, Kenya. Now, what's interesting about Mombasa, Kenya is that all the shipping that goes into Africa lands there in Mombasa.
Oh, okay.
It's a port. And from there, the trucks go through Tanzania, in the south.
Yeah.
It goes up north to Uganda, throughout Kenya, then over into the Congo. And so instead of coming from the Congo out, this belief was that it went from Mombasa in and ended there in the Congo. And that's how this whole thing happened. And the whole monkey stuff, they always blame, now it's bats. They blame AIDS on monkeys. Now they're blaming this on bats, okay? Whereas they believe, and honestly, I think there's a lot to it, that these were manufactured not in the Wuhan laboratory, but in some laboratory here in America, maybe the NIH. And what they did, it was a test, again, one of these tests that got out of hand, or it's kind of controlled. But what they did, if you notice, it hit the general populations of Africa. And here's why. What really made me think about this. There's a lot of prostitution in these African countries. People don't realize that, but there's a lot. And so what they do, they set up these brothels along the main trucking routes. So these truckers on their way in would have sex with these prostitutes, and then the prostitutes then gave it to the general communities.
Oh, yeah.
Man, when you think about that. And so, and if you look at who was affected by AIDS, other than Africa, in India, similar thing in Africa. Apparently, they had a huge prostitute situation going on in India, and it was mostly these truckers, these people that were going around. I believe it's the same thing. I honestly believe, that AIDS was manufactured either in the U.S. or probably in the U.S. I'm going to say U.S. Or England, and then introduced through this port of Mombasa, spread through Africa. They did the same thing in India. You can put me up there with our friend in Texas now.
Okay.
What's the conspiracy?
Alex Jones?
Alex Jones. You
Yeah.
can put me up there with a conspiracy freak, you know. But this is something that I've actually looked in, and I am pretty, I'm going to say 80 to 90% convinced.
I want to say something.
That this actually happened. Well, let me just finish.
Yeah, finish.
Because if you look at it, who did it target primarily? The Africans, the gay, and the druggy community, right? Every now and then, it would hit some innocent wife, innocent husband who messes. But
some hemophiliac little boy.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But primarily, it was contained in the gay community, in the black community, and these. So it's kind of suspicious that it hits that group of people, and the general population is not that affected by it. What more of a masterminded deal could you come with? Specifically targeted?
Well, I'll throw one at you.
COVID?
No, I'll throw one at you.
Okay. Syphilis? The Tuskegee experiment?
In the situation with homosexuals, it was done through, and I'll do the PG version, sexual acts that involved blood.
Yeah.
Okay, so
blood
several
and some
people,
other bodily fluid.
right? But several ministers are saying, Scripture says that's an abomination, and you got the judgment from God.
Well, okay, yeah, I'm not denying that it's a judgment for God, but I think God had some help.
Yeah, I'm just saying the masterminding could be both divine and man-made. I'm not gonna. I'm not. How do I want to say this without getting in trouble? Yeah,
because I totally agree that God is going to judge. A certain segment of society and certain acts. Okay, but if you're talking immorality, it's so rampant in every hetero and homosexual. Bestiality, you name it, some of the hideous stuff, what snuff films. Just think, it doesn't get any worse, okay? But I think that somehow that segment of society was specifically targeted by men, scientists, actually the opposite of godly people. The people who, for the major part, are atheists.
Think they are God.
Well, exactly. there you go. Exactly. And God made, but see, if it was truly a judgment of God, then I think it would have done a better job.
Yeah.
Now they've come up with a cure, and in fact, you've got these ads now that nobody will ever know. Have you seen that, the commercial for some medicine for AIDS that if you're HIV positive, you can take this medicine and no one will ever know. And so basically all we've done is helped out and just made it that much more prevalent and easier to engage in those. I don't want to stay on that, but
I just want to say one thing is
well,
that while I do believe there are degrees of human depravity, I don't want to go so far as to say, oh, but your sin's worse than my sin. Because there's people who could easily say, gluttony's a sin too, and diabetes might be God's judgment.
I've got one for you. Divorce.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah.
So it's the one that we shall not mention.
Yeah.
Because if we did, you'd have to shut half of our churches down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the number of divorced people in church today, and let me say, I'm no saint. I mean, I honestly, when people say I'm not holier than anybody, but at the same time, I try not to excuse my sin.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting.
And through the grace of God, I'm still with my wife after 46 years, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's many opportunities she had to take off or I had to take off.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, we were in this pastor. He just passed away. In fact, I mentioned earlier that I spoke at his funeral. And he asked us a question, are you committed? And he said, the love's going to fade. The love's going to go away. Well, the feeling, the infatuation part of love, I love her. I can't, that kind of
gooey.
I can't live without you. I've got to hear, how are you? That kind of stuff. That's gone.
Yeah.
that leaves about 3 months in, right?
Yeah.
And so, and after that, you just got to slog your way through it. No. I always remember that movie, The War of Roses, where Danny DeVito was counseling, and he says, and they're ready. He says, I don't understand you people. Yeah. My parents, God bless their souls, married 63 years, and there were even a few good ones in there.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say that a lot of married couples that have been married 50, 60 years can relate to that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is just you're dealing with kids, you're dealing with finances, you're dealing with each other, you're dealing with external, all these forces. It's not all what they portray when you're a teenager, love and roses, right? It's not going to be all of that. So, but getting back to the new variant.
We have a show, don't we?
Dave's over here. Anyway, so the variant was first identified in Botswana. Before I took a detour all the way to the Congo and around the world with AIDS and HIV. The variant has a high number of spike mutations that could affect transmissibility and immunoresponse. Ravinda Gupta, a professor of clinical microbiology at the University of Cambridge, said, boy, that was a mouthful. The B1.1.529 variant, oh my goodness, they keep coming up with new stuff, has been found in Botswana, Hong Kong, and of course South Africa, throughout South Africa. Botswana is actually a country, its own independent little nation there, republic outside of South Africa.
Oh yeah.
The new variant is considered the most. This ought to be right up Fauci's alley. The new variant is considered the most significant one yet, and scientists are working to see if it renders vaccines less or ineffective. One scientist described the mutation as, you'll love this. It's like it's getting worse. One scientist described this mutation as horrific in an interview with BBC. Tulio de Oliveira, the director of South Africa's Center for Epidemic Response and Innovation, told news outlets that the variant has an unusual constellation of mutations. For example, the Delta variant had 2 mutations to its receptor binding domain. This variant has 10 and 100 mutations. So, hey, this is serious.
Yeah.
Did I tell you, Dave, this friend sent me a video back in March of 2020? It was actually it was a South African pastor, a black South African pastor, who was preaching and he was teaching. He was talking about this COVID, this virus that had come. And he said, these are his words. He says, it will be devastating, but he said, the cure will be worse than the disease.
How about that?
The cure will be worse
You
than
know,
the
what
disease.
did Trump
I
keep
never
saying?
let that go. I've always held that in because, I mean, there was something, the way the guy delivered this, this South African pastor in a little church, he was being videoed. And this was in March of 2020.
Yeah, but a month, not even a month later, Donald Trump talking about his 14 days to flatten the curve, right? And they were talking about how far do we go with this? And he kept saying the cure cannot be worse than the disease. He said those words multiple times.
Is that not something?
Yeah.
And this pastor had said earlier, the cure will be worse than the disease.
Yeah.
So, and we're seeing that.
Yeah.
The devastation it has caused to these nations with the lockdowns, the mandates, you name it.
Yeah.
Schools, a generation of young people are right now suffering and not being able to go to school,
Yes,
to learn.
and for them, this is not typically anything life-threatening for kids. But yet, we're making them suffer. Why?
Well, because there are entities out there, there are people and organizations using this for social engineering.
What did the guy...
Never let
the good crisis go to waste, yes.
Yep.
The mayor of Chicago for a while, I
Right.
forget the guy's
Yeah,
name. Worked for
Hillary.
Obama.
He worked for Hillary, too.
Yeah. Now, I want to say this, because this ties into what we said earlier on race. 2008 was a pivotal year because the Democrats before that were all about, hey, let me live my life the way I want to live. So yeah, they were about civil liberties. But with Obama coming in, total flip. They're all about in your face and forcing the rest of us to comply.
Yep.
You will have transgendered bathrooms. You will let anybody go in that restroom with your little girl. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't even question it.
How? What?
Yeah.
Who on earth
Yeah.
would think something like that?
Yeah. And you're a bigot if you have a concern.
Who thinks that that's right?
Yeah.
I mean, the depraved mind.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, by the way, I think I talked about this before. For those of you who have heard of C.S. Lewis, and you've heard a lot about the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
And many have read the Chronicles of Narnia. If you've never read the Space Trilogy, you have to read the Space Trilogy.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, the last one is actually, I think, the best one.
Hideous Strength.
But the first two are very important as well.
Absolutely. You got to read them.
Out of the Silent Planet. It's been renamed Journey to Mars.
Yeah.
And then the second one was Paralandra,
Yep.
which has been named Journey to Venus.
Yeah.
And then Out of the Silent Planet, and Out of the Silent Planet. That was the first one, Out of the Silent Planet.
Yeah, it's
was
the first.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, the last one's called that Hideous Strength.
Yes.
When was this written? In the 40s or 50s?
50s. Yes.
It nails it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's today.
Yeah.
It's today.
Okay, Eddie, now you and I go back to the 70s. Remember Distant Thunder, Thief in the Night? Remember those movies, right? And they were all about the Antichrist taking over the world through the United States. What I get a chuckle about is this British author, C.S. Lewis, makes this about the Antichrist coming to power, taking over the world through the United Kingdom. It's kind of funny how we get, it's all about us. We're in the middle of it. And it's just funny to read one of these theories about the end times that all goes through.
He may be right, though. They both could be right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah, I could.
of what? One world government.
It's
I mean, that's what-
speculation. It's kind of throwing a
It's like
a
Mercury.
scenario. Yeah.
You know, where it's all coming back together, coalescing into one big Terminator.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but
yeah.
that Out of the Silent Planet, people, if you ever, man, a movie a book that was similar in one sense is This Present Darkness. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Frank Peretti's book.
Peretti's
And Piercing the Darkness is part two.
Yeah, but the first one was just so, I mean, you talk
amazing.
about home run. I mean, those are just phenomenally powerful books. And Peretti really, it's almost like these are prophetic minds that see things way beyond what we could see them. Another one, the late David Wilkerson. He had a book called The Vision. I don't know if you remember that.
The Vision.
Yes. Where this is in the 70s now, right? Early 70s, where he predicted all the things you're seeing now. You know, pornography on television, the gay thing. I mean, it was like the churches. The only thing, well, maybe he was right there. At the Vatican, he was attacking Rome and the Vatican. The Pope, a Pope will come. Crazy stuff. So God, listen, if you don't believe that God is still raising up prophets, that he still has prophets, that he still has people, then, well, you need to rethink, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, I think we're going to do something in reverse today.
Okay.
I think we're going to do our Babylon Bee at the end. Just to bring, instead of letting people down, we're going to bring you up today, okay? Here's a great one, okay? And this will be it here. San Francisco stores are holding a 100% off Black Friday sale. I can see where this is going. 100% off. In beloved San Francisco, stores across the city held their annual 100% off Black Friday sale, offering shoppers the opportunity to come in, throw as much stuff in a bag as they can fit, and run out of the store. Throw as much stuff as they can. Come one, come on, and check out these amazing discounts, said the manager of one of San Francisco's Walgreens. You can get makeup, electronics, talkies, sunglasses, you name it, even prescription medications. One shopper said she just had to go check out the savings on designer handbags. Yeah, I don't really like going out in crowds, but for 100% off, sure. I'll throw on a ski mask and some gloves and grab as many Gucci purses as possible.
That's right. Nordstrom's is giving a group discount.
What's more, shops across San Francisco are offering extended return policy on all the goods taken from the store during these 100% off bargain sales, so that you can bring that big screen TV back if it doesn't end up fitting, or you can flip it on OfferUp for a tidy profit. At publishing time, the stores have confirmed they will be holding this sale every day for the foreseeable future, or at least as long as Democrats remain in office. What's with people who hate the greatest holiday of the year? The real truth of anti-Thanksgiving movement is out there to see. Wow. Yep. That's crazy. And now, one last thing.
All right.
Just to bring it back home to the church, the Babylon Bee Guide to the Church Worship Team.
Oh, this is
ever since the first evangelical megachurch was founded in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago. The first evangelical megachurch was founded 2,000 years ago. The heartbeat of the Christian church has always been the worship team. The Babylon Bee, being God's favorite Christian satire site, is here with a handy explainer breaking down the various members of the team. This is really important.
Yeah.
I hope my own church pastors are watching, listening to this. Yeah. Now that we've hit the minimum word count for these introductions, no one reads it anyway. Here's each member of the worship team explained. The bassist. Dave.
Yes.
This is what you got to have for a bassist.
Okay.
The bassist is the cool, aloof guy standing off to the side, bobbing his head like he's in the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's always fashionably late to practice and rarely ventures off the E string. Sadly, his amp hasn't been plugged in for years. The lead guitarist was in a rock band in high school, and they totally would have been hugely successful if they hadn't broken up due to some relationship drama. He's fulfilling his fantasy of being in a big rock band by playing U2-ish riffs between every single verse.
Yeah.
The rhythm guitarist, this guy is just like the lead guitarist with even less skill. So he's relegated to playing power chords.
Chords, yes.
Just don't play a song with a B minor or an F minor.
No.
He's still pretty shaky on those.
Yeah,
the drummer, extremely hyperactive, unstable. Everyone just thought it would be safer to keep him enclosed in plexiglass. if you don't go to church, this won't make sense to you.
Yeah.
But if you go to church, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. When he's on vacation, one of the elderly church members fills in, but he only uses those drum brushes instead of drumsticks. We think he was in a jazz band in 1902. The brush.
Yep.
Nobody uses those anymore, do they? Those have been. Oh, here's a good one. I'll finish with this. I won't subject. If you get a chance, go to Babylon Bee and check it out. The cowbellist.
Oh yeah,
the cowbell. More cowbell. We gotta have more cowbell.
That's right.
The backbone of the entire worship team.
Yeah. Sometimes
also uses a tambourine, always barefoot for some reason. Mm-hmm. Oh, and then you have one with a triangle player.
Yeah.
A classically trained percussionist, the triangle player, practices more than anyone else in the band combined. Okay, we're done. I wonder, though, to get to the worship leader, the tech guy, the keyboardist, they left one thing out. You know what that is?
What?
The flag people.
Oh, God. Now you're getting into Bentley.
Like the Broken Arrow or Union Band with the flags. And you get to some of your charismatic church. I was in this church, actually the church I got saved in, but everybody had already fled by the time this new pastor came in. His wife changed everything. Mm-hmm. And they had these flag people. Mm-hmm. And they're running around, these ladies in these white with purple sash women.
Yes.
Am I hitting home with some of you? And they're running all over the church, down the middle of the aisles and around with these banners and flags.
Yes.
And they're waving around. They're on stage, and you got some interpretive dance person up on stage. Am I doing a good job? Am I getting you to see what we're talking about?
Yes.
Anyway.
Meanwhile, dads say, I could be watching the NFL pregame kickoff show.
You mean college? It's Saturday, brother. I know it's okay. You're off.
Yeah, but you're talking about what's going on at Sunday church service.
Oh, you're on now. Yeah. Okay, we're back. Yeah, that's true. I'm watching this and looking at their watch, like Joe Biden at the bringing home of coffins.
Yes.
All right, people. I think we've had enough fun for one weekend. Even though a lot of this is serious, we did want to try to leave you with some lighter info. Yeah. But I hope you'll look into all of this. But above all, I hope everyone had a very happy Thanksgiving, and that as we enter into the rest of the holiday season, everybody has a safe and a good time coming up. Okay. All right, everyone. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right.